I'm the Doctor. I'm a Time Lord. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Kasterborous.
I hope the ears are a bit less conspicuous this time.
You might be a doctor, but I am
I'm a doctor, but probably not the one who looks good. Absolutely fantastic.
All of time and space, everything that ever happened or ever will. Where do you want to start?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bigger on the Inside, the New Who Doctor Who Watch Along podcast. We're doing Dalek episode 2. We've got it a little early because the BBC sent out a newsletter with a unlisted link to watch the episode. So we've given it a little watch. We're going to put our review out early. Harry, what did you think to it? Watching it early, I thought it was quite exciting.
Yeah, I thought it was a marked improvement upon the first episode. The first episode was quite stagnant, a little underwhelming. This one, I feel like there was much more going on. There was lots of more locations. I feel like the character interactions were a bit more fun. There's kind of a cool back and forth, and this one really planted something intriguing. Well, I guess like there was the whole, what was it called? The archive that they wanted in the first episode. And I guess that was meant to be intriguing, but it didn't really do it for me. But here they've got they're talking about this entity who always seems to be kind of one step ahead of them. Seems to have time travel abilities. I feel like that is a much more intriguing concept. I just feel like this episode kind of did what I wish the first episode did for me, which just kind of got me intrigued and wanted me to find out where it's all going to go.
Yeah, there was lots of interesting bits in this. One thing that really stood out to me was the fact that it's probably one of the first times where you see the Daleks sort of admit that they're kind of screwed. There's that scene where they ask the Dalek Emperor for instructions and he just doesn't say anything because he doesn't know what to do next. What is that little rusty Dalek called? The one who he has that sort of classic look. Does he have a name?
The Joe Sugg one.
No. You know, he's actually a Dalek. He's the one who is with Joe Sugg's little robot guy.
All right. The tactician.
Is that what it's called? The tactician. I really like him. I think he's quite.
The one with the kind of menacing voice. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, him and the Joe Sugg robot particularly had good back and forth. I really enjoyed how the tactician clearly had nothing but just complete distaste for this little robot and looked down upon it as inferior because that's what Daleks do. Daleks hate anything that isn't a Dalek.
Even though it's there to help. I think it's called R41 was a note I made when watching the credits. Is the little Joe Sugg robot.
I'm going to call it the robot.
Yes. I think the animation works better because a lot of the episode takes place in quite low lit areas. It's all quite dark, a lot of low key lighting, so you don't actually get a lot of the animation is hidden. So it's actually it's slightly more effective than it was in the first episode, I felt.
Also, it's much kind of smaller scale. It's a lot more scenes where it's just kind of two people in much more kind of intimate locations. And I feel like, firstly, with this limited animation, that works better because, they can kind of do less. That's because it's limited, the animation is less of a hindrance. Yeah. And then also, when I did want to go larger scale, at the end with the giant Dalek shootout, that made more of an impact because we spent so much of the episode just two characters.
Yeah. I really liked that scene, and I really liked the shot of them revealing all the Dalek eyes as they all lit up as the Joe Sugg robot turned them all on. I thought the cinematography in this was really good. There was a lot of shots where I sort of thought, whoever directed this, if you gave them the budget for an actual episode of Doctor Who, it would look amazing.
Yeah, no, I don't know why. It's so weird that it feels like almost night and day comparing this and the first episode because this just feels like there's more to it. I feel like there's more layers to it than the first one.
I really liked that Dalek versus Dalek sort of crossfire battle. It reminded me a lot of Space Invaders, you know, the classic arcade game where you have to hide behind a
Oh,
little
yeah.
shield and shoot out. Yeah, because like it was almost like there's walls and a wall of them on this side and a wall of them on the other side, and they just start like boop boop boop, just kept disappearing. It's almost like a really bad Pong. Um, so I thought that was really good. I'm still trying to get used to the voices because there's a lot of variations in them, but in the show, unless they have a signature style, they tend not to have a signature voice. Like the Dalek Emperor has his own voice, Supreme Dalek, Dalek Sec has his own voice, the Human Dalek, but everything else in every other one has the same voice. But it seems in this animation that every single Dalek has their own voice, and I don't think we're yet to hear just the
A
standard.
regular Dalek.
Exactly. Even though it is Nick Briggs who's doing it, we don't seem to be getting his, bronze tier Dalek, what you would expect.
I mean, imagine this must be a lot of fun for Nick Briggs that he's able to kind of. Has he helped write this? Has he been?
Would have thought
writing
so. I'll have a
Yeah.
quick look. I'll have a see if I
I
can
know,
find.
obviously, he works with Big Finish, but I don't know if this is something that's kind of operating outside of Big Finish.
Yeah, because I know he's wrote a few Big Finish stories. So, what was this episode called as well? It was called. I'm just loading out. The Sentinel of the Fifth Galaxy. I can't seem to find out who wrote this, unfortunately. But no, I definitely agree. It was such an improvement on last week. So I remember at the end of last week, I was like, "Do you want to do you really want to do another one of these?"
No, this was left me in headspace. So I'm like, I definitely want to kind of see where this is going. I'm much more open-minded to it now.
Yeah, no, same here.
And I think
sorry, go on.
one of the big reasons for that is this whole where this kind of invisible enemy so far of the what they refer to as the entity, this kind of enemy of the Daleks with time traveling abilities, who seems to be always one step ahead of them because of going back in time. Gee, I wonder who that could be.
What was that? Sorry, I missed what you were saying. I'm just looking for who wrote this episode. What was you just saying?
Oh, I was just sorry, did you lose connection on me?
No, I heard you, but I was just trying to work out who's wrote this. I wasn't really listening.
I was just making a very sarcastic comment about how I feel like the entity is most definitely the Doctor.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like,
would be surprised if we...
try and hide it.
Yeah, I would be surprised if we don't see some sort of hint. We might not actually see the Doctor, but you might see just a TARDIS appear or something like that. And if you do see him appear, it will be, I feel it'll be a classic one.
I mean, I think because this is part of Time Lord Victorious, right?
Yeah.
To my knowledge, the main three Doctors involved in Time Lord Victorious are the 10th Doctor, the 9th Doctor, and the 8th Doctor. And of the three of those, with something like this, I imagine we're most likely to get a Paul McGann cameo.
Yeah.
So that's what I anticipate. I anticipate perhaps in the final episode we'll get an appearance of Paul McGann. Maybe not physically, just like his, like you said, his TARDIS and then his voice over an intercom.
Yeah. It's written by James Goss, who's wrote a few Big Finish stories. So
Okay, so
it seems they've
pretty
kept
much
the creative team from Big Finish, but brought in an animation studio. They went to Skaro, which was pretty cool. I really liked the look of that. It sort of had sort of a comic book sort of style to it.
Is that not what Skaro looked like in Series 9?
Is that with where Missy and Clara go to Skaro as well?
Yeah, when Missy, Clara, and the Doctor go and Skaro and Davros is there.
Yeah, it's the same style, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like the same design for Skaro that used then. And I quite like that. I quite like that in New Who, at least, they've maintained a pretty consistent depiction of these alien planets. Like, Gallifrey always looks exactly the same. I mean, give or take a bit of destruction.
Yeah.
And Skaro always has the same design. One thing I'm not sure of, do the names Skaro and Gallifrey, do they refer to the planets or like those cities being like the capital of those
Yeah, it's the
planets.
planet because you're Gallifreyan, aren't you? If you're from Gallifrey, so
So is there just kind of one like established civilization on each of those planets, or like with Gallifrey, is it that the city is just where all the Time Lords live? Because I know you can be Gallifreyan but not a Time Lord.
yeah, I imagine so. Then, yeah, I imagine you can be from Gallifrey and then become a Time Lord. But the only bit of Gallifrey we ever seem to see is the big glass ball. I know it's got a name. What is it? The Cathedral or something like that? Or yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't know enough about Dalek lore to find out. I mean, I actually hope that obviously so far the Daleks are being, in heavy pursuit by this entity and they're kind of on the run in this series. But I feel like it would be cool if at some point they could properly go onto Gallifrey and we could just see a bit of a Dalek homeworld and get
Do you mean
more of
Skaro?
a sense of, Skaro, and actually get a sense of kind of what Dalek civilization, what Dalek life is like. Like, do they just kind of hang out in war rooms and on corridors, or do they? I mean, I don't imagine Daleks have much recreational activities, but maybe they do.
No, that's true.
Maybe they can like attach like a baseball bat to their sucker, and they can like
just swing ball. Just one Dalek playing swing ball by himself.
No. Someone else would be like firing a ball at them. There's machines like those like tennis ball and baseball firing machines.
Right, okay.
Maybe Daleks have that built in.
I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was good fun. It's definitely put me back on board for this because I know last week I was just like, this was rubbish. But this week was really good. It's a real step up. It sort of makes me think, why did they make that episode 1 and not just shorten it and make it almost like a teaser at the start? But anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to episode 3.
Like, I'd say it's gone to me from what was a 4-5 to a 6-7.
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah. And I think a lot of that for me as well is done just by the cinematography and the way it's shot. There's still too much. We're at one side of the room, a Dalek speaking, so we suddenly need to crash zoom into the Dalek speaking. I'm like, well, why aren't we already there, sort of thing? But that's just me just being picky, I think. But yeah, it's definitely an improvement.
I think the main thing that I'd like to see is some more, because we've seen this episode really fleshed out the tactician and his characterization. Like, I get much more of a sense of the kind of Dalek he is. I hope they do kind of the same for like the Emperor and subsequent episodes, and maybe kind of expand the cast of Daleks, because so far those two are kind of the two main Dalek characters we've been following. If they can build up that cast of characters and develop them all similarly to the way they started to flesh out the tactician in this episode, then I feel like it could build towards a really, it could just get more and more intriguing, more and more interesting. I want to follow it more and more each week.
Yeah, I just thought it would be so funny if one episode starts with like the Dalek Emperor being like really like angry and bossy, and then all of a sudden like the doors open and like another Dalek comes in just wearing a blonde wig, and he's like, oh no, my wife. And it's like a whole comedy episode where the Dalek Emperor's at work but his wife's constantly like undermining him in front of everybody.
I would just want like a sitcom, just Meet the Daleks.
Yeah, and it's got like a laugh track in it. That'd be so funny. Oh, I'd love that. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. We're going to try and do these weekly. Try and get them out early as well if the BBC are happy to send us a link. So yeah, keep an eye out on the channel, subscribe, like, and all that. And we'll see you later. Bye, everybody. Do you want to say bye, Harry?
Bye-bye.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official
Bigger on the Inside podcast.